What is going on, everybody? It's your boy John, and welcome back to Gearbox. So today we are back in the 2024 Ford F-150 Raptor, and if y'all have been around this channel long enough, you know we have to start off with a 5 things list. And in this case, we are doing a 5 things I absolutely love about this truck. At this point, I've had about 2.5 weeks with it. I've given myself enough time to really marinate in this new truck and understand why the Ford Raptor is so good. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, everybody, so starting off this list with the number 1 thing that I love about this truck, in no particular order, but this one's definitely a big one, is just how this truck looks. I mean, come on. There is no way that you look at this truck and you say, it's fine, you know, it's okay, it's just like every other truck on the market. No, that is not the case and will never be the case, because it's a Ford Raptor. It's so aggressive, it's so, you know, it's styled in such a way that just makes you say, And I absolutely love this. I don't know that I've touched on this in previous videos or the previous video on this truck, but I got this in the Avalanche color. So this is actually kind of like an off-white, kind of bluey, gray-y tint to it. Obviously in the sunset there, you can really tell. But that looks amazing. I think obviously the fender flares, the front fascia here with the upgraded grille, and of course the DRLs that only turn on when you're in drive, but look good nonetheless. And then you go back to the wide hips on the rear quarter, and then going back to the tailgate. I mean, this thing is just amazing. To be honest with you, I never really understood before getting a Raptor how much different this truck really is in width and length and just the overall kind of aura, if you will, of the Raptor. But just looking at it right now, it is very, very clear to me how different this truck is from your other model F-150s. And for me, that's going to take the cake for point number 1. For point number 2, we are going to the interior of this truck, and we're going to talk about the Sync 4 infotainment system, but also the new gauge clustering here. Of course, you have massive screens in both situations. Honestly, going from a Sync 3 to a Sync 4 is a massive difference for all the better. You have all the bells and whistles here, and of course with the Raptor you get a couple extra goodies, but in reality, you know, the best part about the Sync 4 in my opinion is you have so much technology at your fingertips, and so much to the point where it's really more than you could really ever use. You know, a lot of the stuff in this truck is very customizable, just from a driver profile perspective, and different settings you can toggle on and off, or only have them come on or off in different situations. And that's something that I love about this truck, and honestly a lot of new vehicles in the market today. Gone are the days where, you know, it's just a matter of set it and forget it, and oh, if you like it, great, if not, get used to it type of deal. Things are getting to be a lot more customizable to your own personality and tastes, and the Sync 4 and the Ford Raptor is no different. I know my wife and I both have set up our own personal keys to when you hop in the car. Certain things happen, certain things don't, you know, some of my preferences versus her preferences, and that's awesome. And then just the gauge cluster, look how clean that is. You know, it's crystal clear picture, gives you all the information you need, and then if you really want to get crazy, you can put it into the performance view and only look at what's really, really special and important when it comes to performance driving. I just love how customizable all of this stuff is, and it really makes the experience of driving this truck just that much better. For the third entry on this list, I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball, and I think the majority of why I'm adding this is because it's kind of I didn't realize how nice it was until I had it. But for number 3, I'm going to go with the auto down and up tailgate in this truck. Now, for me, owning a truck, the majority of my miles and mission, so to speak, is taking road trips, right? I'll take this truck to work and dinners and whatever, and that's all fine and dandy. But primarily taking road trips is a big piece in what I do. Now, do I tow some stuff occasionally? Sure. But do I haul stuff? Absolutely. If you have a wife and you own a house, for example, you will know that going to Home Depot on a regular Saturday, when you say it's only going to cost $200 and it ends up costing $500, yeah, I'm very familiar with that situation. So we end up throwing a lot of shit in the bed of the truck and going back and forth, blah, 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 whatever. And then you end up as that friend with the truck, and so you have to haul other people's shit as well as your own. That's fine. But when you have your hands full and you know that you're going out to the tailgate of your truck and you know that that tailgate needs to be down, but you want to drop it before you actually go out there, great. And when you go out and put your shit in and you get in the truck and buckle your seatbelt in and say, oh no, I forgot to lift it up, and you push a button and it goes up and locks, I don't know. I mean, call me bougie, and yes, it is bougie. Don't get me wrong, but I love it. It is so nice. I mean, like I said, I've owned this truck for, let's call it 2.5 weeks, and I have used that feature, let's call it 7 times now. It's so nice, and I know this is no new concept. I get that. Don't get me wrong. But it's just a very, very nice feature, having updated from a, let's call it base model 2019 F150 to the 24 Raptor. Call me crazy, I don't know, but that's something I really, really enjoy about this truck. For the number 4 entry on this list, we're gonna go with something that is definitely specific to the Raptor, and that is going to be customizable drive modes with this right here button right here. Now, as you can see, I am already in my quote-unquote R mode, although I did turn off the Baja exhaust because I want you to hear my beautiful voice. But in case you are new to this concept, basically the Ford Raptor has a couple different settings for a couple different things, and so let me show you right now. Number 1, on the customizable scale, we have steering. So right now we're in the sport steering. Hopefully you guys can see this. Actually, let me flip this back. Yes, you can. Then we click and we go to normal. And then we click and we go to comfort. And then we click and we go to sport. That is where I personally like the steering. I think it is way more responsive and has a lot of good stuff going for it, so we leave it there. Number 2, we go to suspension. Right now, we are in the off-road suspension. Click again, you're in normal. Click again, you go to sport, and then you are in off-road. I'm not gonna lie, this is a spoiler for number 5, but we will talk about this setting. And then, you know, once again, we have exhaust. So right now we are in Baja because you forced me to touch the R button, which is my favorite. Then we go to quiet, and I doubt you can hear a decibel change there, but it is considerably more quiet. Everyone at work hates when I drive in Baja mode because it's too loud, which I don't think that's a thing, but whatever. And then we click and we go to your normal, we go to sport, and we go to Baja. Now, the important part of all of this is that we can customize all of that, all settings, by the click of a button for our own driver profiles. So for me, I hop in the car, I immediately turn the on-off switch off, and I double-click the R button, and I'm ready to go. I think that is so cool, and once again, you can get into the habit of hopping into a truck that you love and just have it the exact way that you want it. Pair that with pairing your key to certain, settings that you want on and off and whatever, and you have, in a way, entered into a truck that is everything that you hoped and dreamed for. Now, that's not to say that there aren't some settings, for example, the on-off switch. I would love for that thing to be non-existent, but I understand why it's there, and I can't turn it off. But, with the R button and the key being paired, you can customize the piss out of this thing and just hop in and have it be the exact way that you want it. And whether that's an overrated thing or an underrated thing, I don't know. But coming from Gearbox, I absolutely love it. And so hopefully you too, with your Ford Raptor, can take advantage of the same thing. For the fifth and final entry on this list, I know I already hinted at it, but this is probably the king of the show here. We're talking about the Fox dual live valve suspension on this truck. Guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. So when I lifted my old truck, which was the 2019 XLT, I got a 3-inch suspension lift, a Rancho kit and whatever. And that was great. I had no problems with it whatsoever. But when I hopped in this truck and just even felt it in the normal mode, let alone the Baja mode, it's don't even compare it. It's not a comparison to be made. This suspension is bonkers, okay? And once again, going back to the customizability, this thing can be tweaked and tuned however you want it. And more importantly, when you start talking about, and of course, I haven't off-roaded this yet, trust me, that's coming. But when you start talking about just driving on the road, or maybe, theoretically, I haven't done this, wink, wink, you take a speed bump at, let's call it, theoretically, 40 miles an hour, and the speed bump doesn't feel like it's there, that's the suspension. And when in Baja mode especially, I mean, once again, that's fine-tuned for that type of driving. Now, of course, you take it to an off-road setting, and it's going to be exacerbated that much more. But the suspension on this thing is stupid. And by stupid, I mean good. I love the suspension on this truck. It's not comparable. I mean, at least compared to anything I've found, but it's legitimately a street legal trophy truck as far as I'm concerned. And I know that every single person out there is like, oh, it's a street legal trophy truck. I get that, but it's a street legal trophy truck. And I can't say enough good things about it. And when I hop into anything else, as in any other cars, trucks, SUVs, whatever, this is going to be the pinnacle of what I think of when it comes to a smooth ride and just feeling like you own the world and you can hit or run over anything, because it is absolutely nuts. I can't say enough good things about it. Hopefully you can back me up here if you've ever, either owned or driven a 2024 F150 Raptor. But guys, I'm telling you, don't sleep on it. It is the focal point of this truck, bar none. So guys, that's gonna do it for another episode of Gearbox. If you like this video, please give it a big fat thumbs up. If you have any other features specifically for this truck that you think should have made it into this top 5 list, please drop them in the comment section down below. I know that my lists are never actually in order, and especially for the 5 things I love videos, because this truck is just so good. It's really, really hard to nitpick the specific things that I love about this truck, because as a whole package, it's unmatched in my opinion, and here we are. But regardless, if you have anything else to add, drop them in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the drill. And until next time, peace.